People in this area are largely unemployed.
Gang violence is tearing families and communities apart.
Gang violence has claimed more than 110 lives.
5-year-old Lucien Pieterse was the latest victim.
You know, it's like nobody cares about us. Why must we care? And I can tell you, out of every household, someone was killed in this community. Out of every household, either there was violence in that house. Even it wasn't killed, it was rape, it was abuse, it was a robbery.
What struck me about the place is that this time of the day, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, it's extremely busy. You'll see the kids, most of them, they're not attending schools. The youth, they're unemployed. So it's, to them, what I saw is what normally I see as a weekend. It's fairly busy, which brings question as to why aren't the kids going to school? Why is everyone in their pajamas, most people in their pajamas, not going to work or stuff like that? That was my first impression. And the sizes of the houses, I was a bit concerned because they seemed too small to fit normal families.
It is no secret that Helenvale is known to be one of the highest sort of gang-driven communities, but also one of the communities where you have the most drug-related activities, drug peddling, drug abuse, etc. happening. High teenage pregnancies, high dropouts from both primary and secondary school.
A normal day could start with shootings early in the morning. 5-10 minutes after that, life goes on as if nothing happened.
Seeing someone being shot in front of you, it's traumatizing. How can that happen? How can someone else do that to someone?
And so when we said our visions around people, space and systems, what we had in mind was not to just, what we've done maybe in the last 10 years, which is very much focused on hardcore infrastructure, economic activity projects and public infrastructure upgrades like the building we're in now, was to say, how do we transform people's spaces for them to be able to transform themselves and become economically active?
And so we spent a lot of time and money putting infrastructure in place, putting lighting in place, but at the same time also putting a lot of effort on what some people call the soft stuff, but which I call the hard stuff. Domestic violence, violence against women and children, social issues, youth issues.
And we synthesized a lot of projects, a lot of proposals into a number of components. And those components really spoke to a situational approach in terms of what you do in a particular space. Also a social approach. So what could communities do and how can we galvanize what was there already in terms of how the communities from a social perspective responded to their own issues. And then also an institutional approach. So what was there in terms of government, in terms of schools, in terms of NGOs, that we could garner expertise and support and funding from.
A lot of the issues were social in nature, social problems, problems of poverty, problems of rural education levels. But there are also what is called structural problems, problems of maybe insufficient, poor services from government, even insufficient reach by the government in terms of control, territorial control, which then leads, that plus the social problems leads to problems of crime, drugs, gangsterism and so on. Safer schools, which looks at improving the school space, trying to contribute to us making the school a haven for young people to learn and for trainers to teach. And that's because a lot of the violence also happens in school. The other component was on youth employment to address the issues of low matriculation rates and lack of opportunity.
So while we've achieved a lot of impact in terms of the in-school and out-of-school career guidance and counselling, we believe that there is still a big component of young people from our community who could still benefit from this service. So we have now been able to provide access for young people to those services, which wasn't there before.
The other one was prevention of domestic violence because the baseline actually identified that there's as much victimization, as much violence at home as on the street. 50% of violence takes place in the home, and therefore there was need to look into that.
When you are a young person in Helenvale, I think most of us, we have that personal experience of violence, especially when you walk at night. And so as I was walking home, there comes this young guy, and he threatened me, he gunpoint me, and he want to take me to this house, it's opposite the shopping center here at the back, and I was forced to go there. But, I just thank God that, nothing did happen, because when we got to that house, there was this young man that I know that was sitting there, and he was actually talking to friends, hey, where are you going with this girl? So that's how I got saved.
One of them is public space, which essentially means improving the public space. The fifth component was pilot housing, but this was limited to looking at how could the housing problem be addressed on a long-term basis, essentially coming up with a strategy. Over and above those 5 components, there was the need to integrate them. There was a community side, community participation, which is cross-cutting.
This program is not designed to stop crime, but what it's designed for, to create a space where crime is not going to be taken place. In other words, you change the minds of people within that particular society.
But in between, there was also the issue of empowering communities through a community development fund, where community projects that do not, or community ideas that do not fall neatly in any of the 5 components, but are good ideas.
They improve very much because why? The people outside. Maybe what I think, they don't send the kids because I was in a wooden structure. But now that I'm in a brick structure, MBDA also gave money so I can build a wall. And in which area we stay. There's a lot of shooting and so on. So that it's more safe now for the kids until I build that wall. They're safe now.
I find the people very resilient. Some of them who could actually move out of the community, move out of the environment, which we have seen around talks on housing, possible relocation, where people chose not to actually move.
The Helenvale we all want to see, we're not going to see in the next 3 to 4 years. It will definitely take time. There is a lot of work to be done there, but it can be done. If we work together, it can be done.
The solutions of Helenvale, you come from Helenvale. And the people of Helenvale have the solutions in themselves. They do need external support to realize those solutions. But no solution from outside is going to succeed without it being a solution for the people of Helenvale. So they need to take pride in the fact that they do have the solutions themselves.
They have smiles on their faces, especially the youth in our community, because you don't have a job, but you still smile. And I would say they have this word in our community that they use scarrel. You know what scarrel means is that there's always a way, they're always looking, they're always hustling, you know, they're always doing something.
I want them just to feel how it feels just to be uplifted, how it feels to be upgraded, just to experience things. I want to change my community, I want to come back here and just start programs. If you can sing well, go and sing, record yourself. If you can write well, go and write poems, go write stories, just do your thing.
My vision for Helenvale is everybody must work together. Doesn't matter to which political party, which organization you belong to. That is my vision. I still know there is hope.